Hi everyone, Mr. Hawkins with Hawkins Tech, and I've been using iOS 26.2.1 for about a couple of days at this point. And in this video, I'm going to give you my overall experience running iOS 26.2.1. I'm going to go over my battery life, battery health, and performance, as well as share the Geekbench score during the video as well. Now first, some news from Apple. Apple on Monday released the AirTags second generation. And to pair those, you will need iOS 26.2.1. And at some point in the week, they also released Apple Creator Studio, which has all of iWork's apps, Pages, Keynotes, and Numbers, including Final Cut Pro and Logic Pro, and some other apps as well, like I believe Pixelmator Pro for the iPad. They released those apps into a sort of studio type of feature, or a subscription rather, and it is Apple Creator Studio, so that is also out as well. Now, as far as my overall experience running iOS 26.2.1, well, if we go into podcast and do some scrolling is generally nice and smooth, as you can see here. Scrolling works as it should. We go into the app library here. Scrolling works as it's supposed to. Let's go into my battery health. Quite surprising, my battery health is still at 80%. It's been there for quite a while. And with that battery health, it's reporting it incorrect. It's saying I've been using it for 1 hour and 4 minutes, which is not correct. I've been using it for a little while, as I just made this video, or I'm currently making this video here. And it's saying 54 minutes screen off time. Taking a look at yesterday, 6 hours, 13 minutes screen on time, 2 hours, 7 minutes screen off time. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at it on the iPad. Taking a look at my battery health on the iPad. If we give it a second to load here, we go into view all battery usage. Again, I just started using these devices, so it hasn't been 1 hour and 2 minutes like the screen on time is saying, which is incorrect. And 5 minutes screen off time. Taking a look at yesterday, 3 hours, 22 minutes screen on time, and 15 minutes of screen off time. Now I'm going to go ahead and run a Geekbench score and share that in the video as well. Geekbench completed, and taking a look at it on my iPhone, I scored 2086 single core, 4614 for multi-core. And if I go into last week when I ran it, I scored 2076 single core, 4506 for multi-core. Taking a look at it on my iPad, I scored 2127 single core, 5137 for multi-core. And if I look at last week when I ran this, I scored 2120 single core, 5028 for multi-core. As far as what else to expect from Apple, well, if we go into the calendar here, tomorrow is February 1st, so a new month and some new things we could see from Apple. Well, really, for one thing, we're late for iOS 26.3 and this update as well. Not sure why Apple delayed both iOS 26.3 RC or Beta 3, and this update, which we were supposed to get last week, the week of January 19th. So February 2nd, I would expect one of two updates. Since the build number for the update that released concurrently alongside iOS 26.2.1, the same day they dropped iOS 26.3 Beta 3, the build number ends in a D. So we could see another beta, which is iOS 26.3 Beta 4. If so, I am definitely going to install it, as I am a late stage beta tester. So if I go into settings, general, software updates, and if I go into beta updates here, you can see, if I give it a second to load, sometimes this beta updates does take a minute. As you can see, iOS 26.3 Beta 3 is the latest version. And you can see I also have the feedback app. So I am a late stage beta tester. I will be installing iOS 26.3 Beta 4 if we get it next week on February 2nd. However, if it's the RC, I'm still going to install it. But it will be great if it is the RC. That way we can expect some Unity wallpapers. And speaking of Unity wallpapers, I have a prediction of what I think Apple's Unity wallpapers will be called. I posted it on X, formerly Twitter. I believe Apple will call the wallpapers Unity Glass. Unity Glass is what I think Apple is going to call the wallpapers. And that has everything to do with the liquid glass in iOS 26. So it only makes sense if Apple calls the wallpaper something related to their new iOS software across the entire system. The glass-inspired updates throughout different menus and toggles and different things throughout. So if we get iOS 26.3 RC, I will be installing it. Hopefully the wallpapers don't get dark on the lock screen or the home screen like the ones from last year did with iOS 18.3. Then we get the final release the week of February 9th. However, if it is Beta 4 next week, then the RC is going to release on the 9th with the final release on February 16th. This is weird because Apple's never dropped a 0.3 update in the second to third week of February. We always get these updates by late January. But for some reason, Apple delayed, and I don't know why they're releasing these updates much later. But the biggest update that everyone, myself included, is looking forward to is iOS 26.4. If you haven't heard the news of that update, well, for Apple Intelligence devices, they're going to get a massive change. It's rumored that Google Gemini is going to be incorporated into Siri when Apple and Google partnered up to make Siri 2.0. Unfortunately, though, I don't have a device that supports Apple Intelligence, but what I will be getting is new Siri voices on my iPhone 12, and that I am absolutely excited for. I love it when Apple drops new voices.
The colors of the sky fade with the setting sun.
That's the voice I currently use. You guys might remember that voice from iOS 15.4. We should see the first initial beta of iOS 26.4 sometime in the second to the end of February, with a final release sometime expected in mid-April. Again, Apple is really late to these updates, not sure why, but we do have a busy couple of months ahead of us. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I'm Mr. Hawkins with Hawkins Tech, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.